going to call our Tuesday, July 20th Common Council meeting to order. Elissa, will you please take the roll?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
And if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on our agenda is the minutes of the council meeting from July 6th. Any comments or questions on those minutes? All right, next is comments and suggestions from citizens present. If anyone would like to comment, please step to the microphone. Or if anyone would like to comment virtually, please say so. All right, we have no public hearings. Our next is committee reports. You all have the Finance Committee from July 12th, the Plan Commission from June 28th, and Public Works from July 13th. Are there any comments or questions on any of those? All right, very good. We have no old business. Our next topic is communications and recommendations. With your permission, I would like to take up the update on 111 South Water first. Is there any objection to that? All right. With that, Alex should be joining us remotely. Alex, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is a development project that is directly abutting the future town square to the south. And I just wanted to bring this up because we're in the final stages of completing a development agreement. And we're hoping to have that before our council on August 17th for final review. The developer has been working with our design and engineering team for the town square, basically stepping through a number of iterations just to make sure that we have a high quality integration of the two sites. What this has basically involved is a reworking of some of the grades and redesigning the paths so that the town square paths will connect nicely with the paths and access paths on their side of on the north side of their building. So we're at the point in the agreement where it's in the hands of our legal team now, and they're drafting up a development agreement with a deadline of July 28th in mind so that we can continue stepping through the various committees to get that to council on the 17th. The project itself is a mixed-use building with commercial and retail on the first floor and apartments above. The unit mix that they're going to be looking for is 87, or excuse me, the unit number is 87. So it's a fairly large development. It's going to have a second floor swimming pool facing the Rock River, so that's kind of cool. And they, this is a developer that has obviously a track record of high quality projects statewide, and, we expect nothing less here in Watertown. So I just wanted to bring it up to your awareness, given that we are coming through this and hoping to have that before council on the 17th, and see if there are any questions, or if people sort of recall this project coming up in the past.
So,
And Mayor, if you have anything to add to that, please do.
So we'll have, the plan is to have the development agreement to the Finance Committee on August 3rd. So if you want to be in the weeds on that topic, I would encourage you to attend the Finance Committee meeting on August 3rd, and then we'll come to council hopefully on August 17th. So if you aren't a Finance Committee member and you want that development agreement, shoot Alex an email so that we can make sure that you receive it before the meeting. Otherwise, it would just be in the finance packets. Any questions on that? We're getting close. All right, thanks, Alex. All right, let's go back up.
Yep, thank you.
Back up to the top then, we have employee recognition. We have two this evening, two longstanding employees. We have Peg Chekai with the library of 25 years, and then Robert Kaminsky with the police department for 30 years. Both are with us this evening. I'm going to ask Jonathan and Peg to come on up to the front. Are we just using this one? Okay.
As always, I brought something.
Just to give it'll catch your voice just fine.
All right.
So these are my comments about Peg, knowing that Jonathan would have a page with a staple.
Always the
Not because
staple.
I don't care just as much, Peg. We coordinated. We came prepared. So
A
go
little
ahead,
bit.
Jonathan.
Okay, well, Peg, the mayor did ask me to say a couple of words to put 25 years of service into context. So I'm going to try to give it my best, even though we basically only worked really closely together for the past 4. So if you talk to Peg for any length of time, she'll mention her adventures in library land, which I found to be kind of a curious place between cities, schools, county government, regional library systems, and social agencies. So Peg's experiences in library land started when she took a job as a part-term library assistant. Now that's a position that involves a lot of shelving, checking out a lot of people that will help you and your families as you go into the library today. So as a full-timer, Peg made the switch to children's librarian, an exciting position that allowed her to design children's programming, story times, craft events, and much more. And I believe you can see the effect of Peg's experiences in the colorful and open space design if you go in the new library now. Today, the children's librarian is Miss Tina, so please say hi if you're ever in there. So by 2008, Peg was using her Master of Library Science, was on the road to leadership. She was designated the library's assistant director, position we don't currently have, and learned the finer points of dealing with budgets, boards, and staffing under former director Diane Yarrow. Thank you for saying that for me. And in 2010, the library board, then headed by Pat Zwiski, selected Peg to be the permanent director after reviewing 15 candidates in a competitive search. As Peg noted at the time, remember this, it's exciting for me to be part of the history of the library. At the same time, it's also very humbling because I've grown up in the community and used the library, and now I'm the director of the library. It's exciting and humbling at the same time. Now, for those of you who've been managers or managers of managers, you probably agree that some of the most challenging and exciting times of your career have occurred when you've led through adversity or made changes to team culture. And I hear that Peg's library career started with a little excitement when she planted a flag that really challenged the notions of how a library served the public. Under Peg's leadership, as is the national trend, Watertown Public Library was to be an open place where people are accepted as they are, and library employees are to be welcoming and willing to work with the public. The changes Peg has instituted then and since have had a profound effect on the community, especially in the areas of programming, development, and outreach. The library has regularly seen average daily foot traffic counts in the hundreds, cementing its status as a downtown anchor and driver of commercial traffic. It has also held seasonal programming events for more than 1,000 people, held individual events that have drawn hundreds of people, created an all-ages maker space, and expanded its lending services into a library of things like cake pans and zoo passes. Can't talk about the zoo passes. As for development, the connections Peg made to civic groups in the entire community set the stage for a fundraising effort that ultimately allowed us to rebuild the library with a majority of private funds. Those efforts saved the city and taxpayers millions of dollars if you consider what the current project would have been if even two-thirds bonded. And finally, on the topic of outreach, under Peg's leadership, we've been proud to extend services to underserved communities, eliminate or reduce fines and other traditional barriers of entry, hire additional bilingual staff, and add additional weekend hours. We are also all delighted to find a new partner in the Greater Watertown Community Health Foundation to help accelerate these efforts, guide new efforts to help families thrive as their children's first teachers, and foster a deep partnership with Watertown's Family Connection and the Resource Center. That's not to say it's a straight shot from 2010 to today. Peg weathered some challenges 5 years ago when the first big library project was proposed, and the city and the library seemed to be headed in different directions. But like many of us, she's also seen her share of personal and family challenges during her time at the top. But she's also been able to lean on an incredibly supportive family of staff, friends of the library, board members, mayors, city council members, and as well as her husband, family, and friends, many of whom are standing next to me. We're at our party today, or were joined us here tonight, so thank you for that. So today we're still in the midst of a project, the $10 million expansion in partnership with the city, that Peg has said she's been working on her entire career to achieve. But she's also continued to keep the library open 7 days a week through construction, through a move, through COVID, through pipes bursting and snow falling and roofs leaking. And did I mention she still found the time to raise over $5 million and welcome a new grandchild to the world? So, Peg, while we aren't sure how you keep doing it, on behalf of the Watertown Library Board of Trustees and the Mayor of the great city of Watertown, please accept our gratitude on 25 fantastic years of library service.
I'll add Joe. I'll add I'm going to add just a few points here. So obviously, as Jonathan just articulated, Peg has had a truly long-lasting impact on this community and every patron that has walked through the doors of the library, myself and my kids, and my sisters included. It is easy to focus my comments on just the library project because that is quite an undertaking. But I would be remiss to not comment on the persistence and determination it took to bring that vision to life. The countless meetings, the multiple attempts, the fits and starts, and then ultimately the yes. that led to one of the most transformational changes this generation will ever experience. The heart and commitment it takes to work in one place for 25 years, to start as a junior library assistant, children's librarian, assistant director, and then director, as Jonathan shared, is a real testament to Peg and what she's given her life's work to. So, Peg, our community is better off with you in it, and I thank you so much for everything you've given to this city and to every generation to come with that library. So now, let's thank Peg. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Peg. Thank you, Jonathan. I really need to
Can I
thank
just
you.
say something?
Oh, of course you
too?
can.
I just, it did start off with a part-time job at the library with my kids are in school. But I just want to say it's been a great adventure. It's been a great ride. I've had the opportunity to meet so many people in the community. Even though I've lived here my whole life, I've met so many people from library support from the library board members. I already knew John David since he was my history teacher in high school. I have people now that I call friends, and I'm really happy to be able to have met so many people. Everyone sitting in the crowd today to support me melts my heart, but it's just been an incredible journey, and we're not done yet, so thank you.
Thank you, Peg. Next is Chief Kaminsky, 30 years. Don't look at my paper. Honestly, you guys, I've had the incredible fortune of having a few long-term city team members orientate me to city operations, the ins, the outs, and to guide me through a lot of the nuances and to help me navigate some of the history that is woven in and out of the work we do here. And one of those team members is Chief Kaminsky, who let me call him Bob for far too long before he commented that most people in his life call him Robert. So now I just call him Chief or Kaminsky just to play it safe pretty much at all times. But I've told Chief Kaminsky this before, and I actually just said it to you today. He really is one of the pillars of this organization as a city operation. And it's not just because he's been here for 30 years, it's the quality of work that has gone into those 30 years that have cemented him into the foundation of our city operations, frankly, for probably many years into the future. In those 30 years, Chief Kaminsky has worked his way from patrol to sergeant to captain and to chief. And while I can only comment on perhaps the last 8, or more specifically the last 2, that's enough time to know what a gift your service has been to our city. I was asked by someone how I was going to write about this 30 years.
Who asked that?
And I confidently tapped my temple and insinuated that I had enough knowledge to write this, and I do. And it's not because of me, but it's because of the incredible leadership, service, and commitment I've been fortunate to observe. I also brought in a secret weapon in former Mayor David as well. So honestly, Chief Kaminsky is steady. He's poised, he's fair, he's experienced, he's committed, he's a team player, he's a leader, and he is everything I can ask for and the city can ask for in a chief. He steps up even when what is being asked is nowhere near his job description. He quietly does what needs to be done. He's willing to make the tough call. He's open to ideas and changes, and he deals with every situation with clear judgment. In one of the most trying years in many ways, and in particular in law enforcement, I've said more times than I can count how fortunate I feel to have Chief Kaminsky leading our police department. He has educated me, explained situations and procedures in a digestible manner, and although I think he did make me earn it, he did bring me, which I'm okay with, he did bring me into the fold on operations and procedures and approach on some of these very difficult topics. We've tackled some big ones in these 2 years. And in every challenge, I've had the fortune of reassurance, and that reassurance is in the capacity of his leadership. Our officers and support staff in the PD are incredible. They're here to serve and to serve at all costs with integrity, and that is in part because of the leadership Chief Kaminsky displays and the culture he fosters that people want to be a part of. Our department is at the front of the pack, and I feel really confident saying that in many of the pressing issues of today, and our department has had existing policies and procedures in place for many years. We are a department that engages our community, treats each situation with the objectivity it deserves, and protects and serves everyone. That systemic excellence is led from the top down, and it starts with him. Our city has been profoundly impacted by Chief Kaminsky's service, and it is honestly an honor for me to stand here tonight and congratulate him and thank him in a very small way for giving our community a level of leadership and service that will permeate for years to come. And if that's not enough, I'm bringing up my friend.
I'm gonna sleeper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tapping in the righty. You can sit.
Chief, you're getting shortchanged. Jonathan, 2 typed pages. John, 4 scribbled words. I'm sorry. Chief Kaminsky and I worked with each other in one form or another for 19 years. 7 as an alderman, 12 as mayor. I used to call him officer, then I called him, I think, captain, and then I called him chief. And I can tell you one thing about Chief Kaminsky, he has got integrity to burn. He can use all kinds of it up and still have plenty in reserve. An extremely capable individual. I did write 4 things on here, 4 things that we did work together on. And you know something? They were all traumatic. First one was a tire fire. How many people remember that disaster? Even though it was not in the city of Watertown, we were all intimately involved with that, including the fire department, obviously. There were 106 fire departments involved in that fire. And we put it out in about 1 week, totally unheard of. But I know the fire department answered a ton of phone calls. I answered a ton of phone calls. You know where a lot of them were from? The state of Michigan. What's all that smoke and soot in my backyard? The other incident was a chemical spill in the city of Watertown. That was pretty traumatic, and to spread this around a little bit, Carol Quest and I sat in the folks' house right next to the factory Christmas Eve and had a discussion with them over a cup of coffee at their kitchen table. Our police department intimately involved with that incident, and Chief Kaminsky was also. So then, that wasn't good enough for me. We had to have a Bakken oil field, crude oil train derailment in the city of Watertown. I can remember Chief Kaminsky and the other officers going door to door, getting people out of their houses, going back, forgot the pet, going back, had to get the medicine. And again, fire department intimately involved, health department intimately involved, and just tremendous work. But Bob was one of the leaders on that. Excuse me, Chief.
So either way, I'll answer them all.
The last thing is, we were doing a background check on an individual who we were thinking about hiring. Captain at the time went to another state to do the background check. And I thought things were going along swimmingly, and I'm sitting at my desk late in the afternoon downstairs, and I get this phone call from him. He says, "Mayor, did you hire so-and-so?" I said, "Not yet, I'm waiting for you." He said, "We gotta talk." So I waited for him to drive back to Watertown, and we had a discussion, and things worked out fine, but he gave me a very, very interesting discussion. And
Nobody wants discussions or phone calls from me, I guess. Usually they come around 3 or 4 in the morning, so.
as I said, extremely capable, integrity to burn, and a great chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna give you this.
Okay.
We're gonna clap. Oh, well. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. I can't, Peg, you ruined this for me, you talked, so now I have. Just ask, does it seem like 30 years? And it really does not seem like 30 years at all. It's gone by so fast, so quick. I've worked with different mayors, different alder people, different staff. As a city, you have one fantastic police department, not from me, but from the people who work here. They really do care about this community. They really do care about the job that they do, from officers to dispatchers to the records clerk. So I wouldn't be here without them. They do all the hard work. I just put it all together a little bit, and they do it all. So, but thank you. It does not feel like 30 years. I still got a lot in me, so.
Or 40.
right. Great. Not nearly as exciting, but let's move on to our appointments. I have one for your consideration. This is a new appointment to the Main Street Task Force. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Pash,
Second.
second by Went. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, our next is our COVID-19 update discussion, and I think for the first time ever, Carol is here in the room, so I'm going to pull. Give me 1 second, Carol. I still need to share my screen, though.
So before we start, I will tell you, these are the numbers that I'm going to give you to begin with are numbers from this morning. And they change every day, so they look a little bit different than what we might report tomorrow.
1 second.
Maybe it's easier if I go back to my office.
No, I'm just trying to fix the camera, so we're
Happy
just,
to do it.
we'll just do this for now, and then we'll do this. All right. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to, you can read the numbers, but just some highlights. As of this morning, we had no confirmed cases, active confirmed cases, which, great news. Every time I've been reporting to you, the numbers are improving. This is the first time we've had no active confirmed cases. Again, remember, this was from this morning, and tomorrow's numbers will look a little different. We have 1 active probable case. We have 3 suspect cases. We have 21 open contact investigations. 4.06% of our positives have been hospitalized, and 44 individuals in our community have died from COVID. The next slide is just a graph that gives you a age distribution of both probable and confirmed cases. This is from the beginning of our COVID response back in March. So you can see where most of the activity is, or the higher percentage of activity of COVID positive cases and probable cases. And then the next slide is breakdown of COVID activity from January 1st until now. And we broke it down by age group. You can see where some trends are. Our January numbers were much higher, and the 40 to 49 age group, we were seeing the most activity. As the months have continued on, we are now seeing more activity in the younger population. Our older population in May and June, just about no activity, but the percentage of vaccinated individuals in those older age groups is much higher than it is in the younger population. And in some age groups in the younger population, they're not eligible to receive the vaccine yet.
We have to leave one door open. Thank you. In case everyone was wondering why I'm doing this, sitting up here.
I was thinking you were
Yeah.
doing something.
Just
Okay.
really excited about
Wrap
the
it up.
numbers.
I was thinking,
There is
just
about
wrap it up.
3 minutes o'clock.
Stop talking. So Watertown Health Department has given 4,412 first doses, 4,207 doses, with a total of 8,619 doses. And our numbers for vaccination are slowly increasing, but not near as rapidly as they were at the beginning of our vaccination rollout. And then I wanted to share with you also our comparison for the city of Watertown, the number of residents in the city who've received a first dose compared to Wisconsin. The percentage for Watertown individuals that have received a first dose is 39.9 compared to 51% for Wisconsinites. And then the number of individuals in Watertown who are fully vaccinated, or the percentage, is 38.1% compared to the state is 48.6%. So we have some work to do to continue to provide vaccinations in our community. I'm not sure if there are any questions, but I can tell you that we have been out in neighborhoods providing vaccine, working with some of our employers, providing vaccine with our long-term care facilities, which we've been doing. I know I've talked about that in the past. Just trying to make it as convenient as possible to provide vaccines to individuals that may have other barriers, maybe transportation, or they work late shifts or early shifts, just trying to meet our community where they're at. Are there any questions?
Just one question. Mayor.
Mr. Pash?
As a percentage of the population, we talked about like nearing 50%. Does that include the children in that
It's
population?
total population. That's a good
Do you
question.
know what percentage of our community is adults or 18-year-old, or whatever the vaccination window is?
I can get that for you. Yeah, I can get that for you. And I could give you also, maybe we can put this on our post tomorrow as well, the number that are in the 12 to 17 age group that are fully vaccinated. I can get that information to you.
Any other questions for Carol?
Have you found any of the variant virus in town at all?
So the variant is prevalent in Wisconsin, and it is in our community as well.
Any other questions? So we shifted to monthly. Do you want to hear an update like this in August, or are we comfortable with no updates? We're okay moving away from updates?
Unless things change dramatically.
Is everyone comfortable with that? Very good.
And you're all welcome to email me if you have questions. I'm happy to provide you information if those questions come up.
All right, thank you. Okay, our next item, don't go too far, well, actually, you can sit down, is the recognition of the health department. So we have. How are we doing on time? Just kidding. All right. It's quite ceremonial that we're ending our COVID updates and providing this today. So I am going to share a few words, then invite all of you up individually. We're going to applause for each person because they deserve it. So, you know, when you sit down to reflect on one of the most trying years and experiences that any of us will probably have in our career, a person like me, I would expect the words just to flow out of me. But for me, the hard part wasn't exactly finding the words to say, but it's finding words strong enough to convey the impact that these folks over here have brought to this community. As you will see and hear, the experience levels of this group from our health department are varying. Some have been in the field for just a handful of years, some decades. Some left the field and came back. Some entered just to assist us. Some were retired and came out of retirement. Regardless of their years of service and regardless of, you know, any personal insight people may have on this pandemic, these folks profoundly impacted our community. They were a voice of calm to the terrified. They were the ear getting yelled at through the phone. They were the comfort to those families who just lost a loved one. They were a lifeline to food and to medical supplies, and they were our continual, unwavering support throughout this pandemic. And they did all of this through an intense level of scrutiny, an incredible amount of demand, and in largely uncharted waters. But they never wavered. They showed up day after day, Saturday after Saturday, holiday after holiday, supporting the health of this community. They missed family time. They endured personal struggles and illness. They experienced losses of their own, joys of their own, barriers of their own, but it never affected the work you all provided. A sign will hang in the health department that says 3 words: perseverance, persistence, and success. And it will be anchored by another that reads, in recognition of the Watertown Department of Public Health team and their tireless efforts to serve the community throughout the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. Their perseverance and persistence was vital to the community's effort to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. I am so proud to have the privilege to honor these 15 or so. We're missing a few tonight. So please join me in welcoming each person up. And again, we will applause between each one. So first is Susan Woleen. You're gonna have to stay here a long time. I put you first on purpose. Lacey Cummings. Thank you. Holly Heisel. Kim Hiller. Cheated. Good pass. Good job. Tyler Kubasek. Good job. Kaylee's not with us this evening, and neither is Victoria Parker. Thelma Stouty. Jeannie Howe is not with us this evening. Becky Fisher. Patty Wetzel. Patty. Lisa Sweet. Linda Hensler. Ivy Kane. Last but certainly not least, and yes, it was on purpose, Carol Quest. Well, you're going to have to condense a little because that photo's never going to work out.
Oh, take off our mask.
Yes. Thank you for being willing to step forward.
Everyone look and smile.
And then don't leave.
Okay.
On behalf of this community, we thank you for giving of yourself for the greater good and for being on the receiving end of some very difficult words and continuing on day after day, for enduring personal difficulties and showing up for this community, and for being steadfast in your work for the city. You guys, I mean it. I've said it to you a million times. I tried to bring you muffins and cookies and break all of Carol's healthy rules. We simply would not have weathered this without you. And to have the opportunity to affect the lives of 25,000 people, not the way you ever pictured doing it, but dang, you did a great job doing it. And we could not have done this without you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you all for what you've given to this community, and I'm sure what you're going to continue to give. We appreciate it more than you can ever know. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This group of individuals are incredible, and I know the mayor shared her sentiment, and I 100%, 1,000% agree. I could not have imagined going through anything as difficult and challenging as we went through this last 18 months without a more dedicated, compassionate, professional group of people. I am so proud of the work that we did. I am so proud of everybody here. And I'm so proud of our community. So many people came to support the public health department. I'm looking at 3 people here from the hospital that we talk to every day. We have great relationships. We have a strong community. And we have so many organizations that really stepped up to say, how can we help? How can we help our neighbor? How can we help the health department do the work they're doing? I am just so proud of our community and of these 14 plus individuals here, some that aren't able to join us, but a great group of people, and it really was a ride that I couldn't imagine taking without my co-passengers here. So thank you all.
And wouldn't do it with anybody else but you. Thank you.
Deserve them. Right. No, let's go to the next really exciting topic. Just kidding. Okay, so our next item is action on the recommendation from Statewide Services for the disallowance of a claim by John Black. Did you take a motion on that?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Motion by Pash, second by Licht. Comments or questions?
We haven't, in the past, we haven't approved anything similar. I'm
Not to
assuming.
this magnitude. I can recall one where we, and Alyssa, I'm looking at you to correct me if there's more than one in recent memory. I can remember one that was suggested for disallowance that we paid, but it was around $1,000 perhaps. Am I remembering correctly? And not the same check. So I'm unaware of one in the time I've been here. Other questions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we have no new business. The accounts payable.
Madam Mayor, I move we pay all accounts payable.
Motion by Romline.
Second.
Ooh, second by Schmidt. Comments on these? Alyssa?
Aye.
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 All right, next we have reports and miscellaneous business. You have the Airport Commission from June 9th, Historic Preservation from June 16th, the Library Board of June 10th and 21st, Licensing from July 14th, Main Street from June 15th, Park Rec and Forestry from June 7th, Police and Fire from June 14th, Payroll Summaries from June 16th to June 29th, the Senior Center Advisory Board from June 16th, Transit Commission from July 12th, and the Watertown Housing Authority from May 20th.
So moved.
Pash. Oh, I don't even need a motion
Oh,
on
I
this one, but I
forgot.
appreciate the excitement. Does anyone have comments or questions? Very good. All right, let's go to licenses then, where I will need motions. So our first is an application for a Class B malt liquor license. This is for Fiesta Las Margaritas at 1512 South Church. Crescentiana Sanchez is the agent.
Make a motion.
Motion by Wendt,
Second.
second by Bartz. Any comments or questions on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, our next is a Class B, an application for a Class B malt liquor license for the Vintage on Water Street. That is located at 114 North 4th. Lucas Schreiber is the agent.
Make a motion.
Thank you. Motion by Wendt,
I'll second.
second by Bartz. Comments on this one? Questions? All
I do-
those in- oh,
I do, I'm just not, is this a new establishment? or
It
this-
is.
Okay.
It's across from, somewhat across where Firehouse Lanes was and the old Chris's, right on Water,
No, okay.
by
ju-
the Realty Building.
As we continue to issue more of these, I'm just more curious with the frequency of, like, stings or, do we still do those?
We do bar checks.
Bar check.
We do compliance checks usually a couple times a year.
The state just did one too, and they sent us an email on all the businesses they tested in our area, and every one of the districts that they checked passed.
Is it the tobacco one?
Yeah,
That's tobacco.
Tobacco.
Oh,
Yeah, we
tobacco.
do the alcohol internally.
okay.
That's done by our officers and then volunteers.
Great.
Any other comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Next is an agent change for the American Legion. This is for a Class B malt liquor license, and this is to Robert Hamburger.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Romline, second by Pash. Comments on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Next is an application for a temporary premise amendment for the Watertown Lodge 830 Loyal Order of the Moose. This is at 1222 Juno Street for Saturday, August 21st, from noon till 8.
So moved.
Motion by Pash.
Second.
Second by Wendt. Anybody on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And then last is a renewal of a secondhand article jewelry license for Watertown Trade and Auctions, Chad Hazy at 204 North Water. Motion by Wetzel. Second. Second by Wagner. Comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, very good. Let's go to ordinances. The first is ordinance 21-30. This is to create chapter 482 of the city code regarding the creation of a transportation utility. This is here from Alderman Wetzel in Public Works on the first reading.
A motion for ordinance 2130.
Okay, motion by Wetzel.
Second.
By Romline.
Question.
Yes.
Does this create fees?
Or does this set up the framework to create fees in the future?
The latter. So this, we're not creating a single fee with the passage of this ordinance. We're setting up the infrastructure to have a transportation utility. Next year, we'll budget for a study. That study will tell us if and what and how. And then if it suggests setting of a fee, that would come back before Public Works and the council. In my mind, this is, I say housekeeping when we have like periods and numbers that are wrong, so I don't want to say housekeeping here because it really is more than that. But we want to essentially establish one so that we're in, that should a body above us choose to regulate this, we are on the books as having one established. Does that help?
It helps, because my questions really are about more what the study will show and how certain things will be decided, what economic impact it has on
Yeah.
seniors, stuff like that,
Very
which is
good questions.
the next step.
Yes, and we're budgeting for that in '22, correct?
What is the reason for having this?
So a transportation utility, should the study show us that we should be generating a fee, provides an additional source of revenue for the updating and maintenance of roads. I'm grossly generalizing. But if you think about the stormwater utility fee, how that is produced and established to maintain and grow our stormwater facilities underground, our storm sewer, or the water fee you pay, does a similar thing. This would be for road maintenance. Is there anything you'd want to add to that? I don't want to oversimplify. Fine answer? Oh, okay.
Engineering recently looked at our infrastructure needs for the next decade, and this city has approximately $40 million worth of infrastructure repairs and replacements that are going to be needed over the next 10 years. We have 3 bridges in our future that will need removal and replacement. We have seawall conditions that need to be addressed. We have roads and other amenities with our roads that need to be taken care of over the next 10 years. And we're going to need to find financing in order to be able to do that. A transportation utility would potentially set up, as it says, a fee and being a utility that can start a reserve and start creating the funds that we're going to need for these repairs, for these replacements, so that we don't have to hit our borrowing in any one year tremendously or completely out of skew to get these repairs and replacements done.
Do other cities do this also?
Yes.
I believe Columbus is in it, right? Is it Columbus, I think, right?
The town of Pewaukee has one. Neenah, the city of Neenah has one. Columbus is currently going to be doing one. They're in the process of completing theirs. So those are the ones that come to mind. But yes, there are easily half dozen or more cities and towns in the state of Wisconsin that have them currently.
Do they have any idea what the cost is going to be to the taxpayers?
We'll be exploring that in 2022.
Question?
Yeah.
Sorry. First of all, why do we have the updated one? This is different than what is in the agenda, correct?
I'll let Andrew speak to that.
The ordinance in your packet simply showed the markup. This is a cleaner version without, Attorney Cole had one comment on the markup, so this is just condensing that into one form without that comment. It's the same verbiage, just a cleaner format.
Thank you. And as Alder Licht said, thank you, Andrew. I have questions as well about the fees and all. Many questions coming up, and well, more as this goes on. This just gets us in the door, so to speak.
Yeah. I think one thing that's beneficial about transportation utility fees, I'm not going to say beneficial, one thing that is fact about transportation utility fees is it allows municipalities to get a user fee essentially. So right now we're funding roads through taxes and through some, transportation aids through the state. But as we know, not everyone in this community that drives on these roads pays a tax. So this allows us to kind of spread that user fee to people who are not taxable, so nonprofits, for example, so that they are participating in the financing of our infrastructure needs that they also use. So that's something that I think is factual, that helps kind of me level set why this is something for us to at least consider.
So is this long-term intent to include staffing and personnel and,
It can't.
No,
It can't. It's just infrastructure.
so there'll be no, this will fall under a different department to add to less the growing responsibilities than if someone else's plate?
This would be managed in the existing staff we have in the Public Works Department. Is that it? Is that answer? Okay. Any other questions? So the next, well, you'll see this again at another meeting, but after that, the next you would see of it is a study for it in the draft budgets that would be presented to you all. And then the work wouldn't happen until next year. Okay. Anybody else? Elissa?
Aye.
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 No.
All right, next is ordinance 21-31. This is to amend chapter 550 of the official zoning map. This is here from me and the Plan Commission on the first reading.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Went,
Second.
second by Pash. Any comments or questions?
What are they actually changing?
Jacob, is this the Clausen one? Yeah, so this is going from multi, which is a zoning code. Is that correct? Okay, come on up.
So throughout the city, we have these remnant parcels that are zoned multiple. There is no multiple zoning classification in our city anymore, and I don't know when there was. When we redid everything in 2003, those properties weren't rezoned to a different one. I suspect that they were kind of like planned unit developments at the time to allow different uses. So there are several properties out there in the city that are going to need to be rezoned because they're zoned multiple. They don't have any setbacks, they don't have any classification, there's actually no code on them. So this is taking that property that's owned by Clausen, they have a parking lot there, it's unaddressed, it's an unaddressed parcel. It's about 16 acres, it will turn it from multiple to general industrial.
Any other questions for Jacob before he gets too far? All right, Elissa?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next is ordinance 21-32. This is to adopt the plan unit development, general development, and precise implementation plan for 421 East Horseshoe Road. This is here from me and the Plan Commission on the first reading.
I'll move.
Motion by Wetzel.
Second.
Second by Schmidt. I heard someone, but I wasn't sure who it was. Anybody have comments or questions on this one? Elissa?
Aye.
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 All right, next is ordinance 21-33. This is to adopt the plan unit development, general development, and precise implementation plan for 601 North 2nd Street. This is here from me and the Plan Commission on the first reading.
So moved.
Motion by Pash.
Second.
Ooh, second by Bartz. Comments or questions on this one?
Is this for business change?
This is for, I would say, business expansion? Is that a safe way to couch it?
Yes, this is to allow the Tipsy Goose on North 2nd Street here to have an outdoor area. It's zoned neighborhood business currently, and this would allow it then to have the outdoor area, which is not allowed under neighborhood business. Chapter 220 still applies, you cannot waive that under a PUD, so all the hours and stuff would still comply with Chapter 220.
All the noise?
All the noise standards of Chapter 550 still apply, they can't waive that, and then also they can't waive the noise standards of Chapter 410, which is the peace and good order chapter,
Okay.
which is what the police usually enforce.
You don't want another problem.
No,
And we talked about that at length at Plan Commission.
yes.
As well.
Okay.
But the Plan Commission ultimately, this is a business owner that we've had other positive interactions with, and it was the opinion of the Plan Commission that the chief and Jacob have the code they need to do the enforcing, so is that a
That's a fair assessment.
fair summary?
Yeah, summary's great.
Anybody else have questions on this one? All right, Elissa.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Next is ordinance 2134. This is to amend section 398-20, concession in the parks. This is here from Alderman Licht, Park, Rec, and Forestry on the first reading.
So moved.
Motion by Pash,
Second.
second by Wetzel. We were all looking at you.
Oh. Better pay attention.
Comments or questions on this one?
So is it 5 or 15 for the fee?
Both.
Oh,
It's 5 if you don't use any city buildings or equipment, and it's 15 if you do. Use a city building or,
so this is a new fee for offenders?
yes.
No, that fee is already on the books. What's under, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, what's underlined is the change, except for facilitated city events. And Randy's here too, remotely. Oh, hey there, guys. Randy, is the only change the except for city facilitated events? Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
It's not.
How about go like this if it's a yes? Yes. So, I think generally as a city, we're looking to bring, food trucks and food carts. And if we're facilitating that effort as a city, asking them to come, we don't want to then take away a portion of their profit. So that's what this change is allowing, is for them to keep what
More
they would
there.
produce, more for the business.
Okay.
I think I knew what angle you were going, so that was why I wanted to clarify that one. Anybody else on this one? All right, Elissa.
Aye.
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 All right, our next item then is resolutions. We have Exhibit 9239. This is a resolution to update the restocking agreement amendment and the addendum with the hospital. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9239.
Motion by Wagner, second by Schmid. Comments on this one? This one's pretty straightforward. Are you fine with the voice vote? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, our next is a resolution to allow a request for additional properties to be covered by the fire department. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move to approve 9240.
Thank you. Motion by Wagner,
Second.
second by Bartz. Questions or comments on this one?
As long as Chief thinks we can do it.
You did. Yep, we already are basically there
That's what I think.
with our coverage now. Fine with voice too? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, our next is Exhibit 9241. This is a resolution to approve the Truancy Abatement Officer contract with the school district. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
Move for Exhibit 9241.
Motion by
second that.
Pash, second by Licht. Comments or questions on this one? I assume you want the roll. Go ahead.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Next is Exhibit 9242. This is a resolution to approve the police school liaison officer contract with the district. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by
Second.
Wen, second by Wagner. Second by Wagner. Questions on this one? Elissa?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Next is Exhibit 9243. This is a resolution to create the Assistant Chief of Police position and to amend the payroll resolution. This is here from me and Finance.
Wagner, I'll move to approve 9243.
Motion by Wagner,
Second.
second by Pash. Comments or questions on this one?
Chief or Robert? Is it, you have, how many captains are there right now?
So what this is, Mr. Wetzel, is I have 3 captains
Mhm.
right now. This would take one of those captain's positions and make it an assistant chief. And command staff would become chief, assistant chief, and 2 captains.
Okay.
currently the 3 captains, and I haven't started a process until this is approved. So I created a job description with the Carlson Detman. They came back with a salary recommendation. That's what's here, as well as creating the position
Okay.
in the payroll. So after it's approved, then I would have a process with the Police and Fire Commission to promote
Sure.
a captain to this position.
Yeah, and why the change?
Just clear lines of leadership now. I think it's important. We did back many years ago have an inspector of police that was the assistant essentially to the chief. That was later changed to a deputy chief of police. So you had a chief and a deputy chief. When Chief Rhodes became chief of the department, he changed it to a structure of just 3 captains. And I think that the structure is better with the chief and assistant and the 2 captains.
Streamlining.
Yeah.
So you can function effectively without having that third captain.
Yeah, right now I have captains doing jobs that probably should be done by an assistant chief. And I'm splitting so this I can bring back into one person and divide out the work a little differently.
Any other questions? All right, Elissa.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Is that an aye? Yep.
Aye.
Yep.
I said,
I heard you, but she didn't keep going, so
Okay.
just making sure. Sorry.
Aye.
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 All right, next is Exhibit 9244. This is a resolution to authorize a budget amendment to transfer $10,309 from forestry capital projects to parks capital outlay for the purchase of a Bobcat skid steer loader. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
Order to approve Exhibit 9244.
Was that a motion by Romline first?
Yes.
Okay, with a second by Pash?
Sure.
Very good. Questions or comments on this one?
We must really need Bobcat.
Randy?
I only asked because of the $2,100 increase in cost, so
Let's see if we can hear them. We can't hear you. Let's do this. Why don't you just call in from your phone? Oh, you are? Okay. Well, I'll summarize the best I can. So we had a lot of discussion about this at the Finance Committee. We're currently in I'm going to say contract to purchase each year and return the one that we purchased the year prior. The Finance Committee has asked for a cost benefit to be done on that approach leading into the 2022 budget cycle. And obviously, we will oblige that request and make sure that we are presenting the most cost-effective option for the city. At this point, we are practically contractually obligated to make the exchange, and if we don't, there is some level of,
punitive liability on our part.
yeah, there's we start paying per mile, or, yes, is that per hour? Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and based on the conversation in the Finance Committee, basically they have a newer model that they want us, that we're getting because of changes and maintenance and things of that sort.
Henry contract, and probably the fanciest new thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think the price increase was attributable to, obviously, a newer model, so they're always going to make it more expensive, and then steel.
That's
Steel.
why, but it being contractually obligated answers the question, but it's the increased cost to, if we can delay to let costs come
Right.
back down like they should be, at least somewhat, but if we're stuck contractually, there's not much we can do about it.
And we're seeing this one because it was just with the transfer of the department, it was just not budgeted for. So otherwise, this would have been a budgeted for item appropriately, but we just frankly missed it when we were moving from department to department. So,
The 20% increase in cost that flagged it for me, so
yeah, all of us.
that's a lot of money. Are we getting the increase 20% more in our turn back in then?
That I can't speak to. Is there any type of increase on our turn back? No.
That's shady. I think we need to review that contract.
We will do that. Just looking for a head nod, but this is pretty difficult to have this type of conversation.
Yeah.
Randy and Jeff will have to run with that. Let's just check in on that return. I think what may be beneficial is if we just did a quick, maybe little paragraph write-up about this program, and then we can just provide it in packets.
Yeah. Because if they're dinging
see
us
them
for
writing
the
that down.
increase in cost, then we should get that receptacle back to us and returning back into product. So
Yeah,
if not, they're just taking advantage of us.
we'll get some info out.
Yeah.
Anybody else on this one? Elissa?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right, our next item is Exhibit 9245. This is a resolution to amend the amount of the construction contract for the interurban trailhead bathroom. This is here from Alderman Licht and Park, Rec, and Forestry.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Licht, second by Bartz. Questions on this one? Mr. West?
Question, is this a price increase because of all the construction materials going up?
I think I know the answer to this one. The answer is no. This is simply a mistake in the transposing of a contract amount into a resolution. So we passed this resolution, and the amount that was put in it did not match what was in the contract that we signed. So that's what the difference is here. Is that correct, Randy? Any other comments or questions? All right, Elissa?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next is Exhibit 9246. This is a resolution to discontinue a portion of East Division Street right-of-way. This is here from me and the Plan Commission.
So moved.
Motion by Pash,
Second.
second by Wagner. Comments or questions on this one? Do you want, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. Next is a handful of airport hangar leases. The first is for Exhibit 9247. This is the resolution to approve the lease of the airport hangar located at 1753 River Drive. This is here from me and the Plan Commission.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Licht, second
Second.
by Wendt. Anyone have any questions or comments on this one? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Oh, are you fine with that? Okay. Next is Exhibit 9248. This is also a resolution to approve the lease of a hangar located at 1753 River Drive. Again, me and the Plan Commission.
Rumlin.
Motion by Romline,
I'll second.
second by Schmidt. Anybody on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, next is Exhibit 9249, again, a resolution for the lease of an airport hangar at 1821 River Drive. Hear from me and the Plan Commission.
So move.
Motion by Licht. Was that a second by Wendt?
Sure.
All right, very good. Am I talking you into him at this point? Any comments on this one? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And our last is Exhibit 9250 for the lease of the airport hangar located at 1775 River Drive. Me and the Plan Commission, one more time.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Motion by Schmidt,
Second.
second by Wetzel. Comments or questions on this one? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Easiest meeting you've ever been to, Mr. Baum. Have a good evening. Next is Exhibit 9251. This is a resolution to update our City of Watertown Emergency Operations Plan. This is here from Alderman Romline and Public Safety and Welfare. Motion by Romline,
Second.
second by Wendt. Anybody have any questions on this one? You update this annually now, correct? Okay. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Our next is Exhibit 9252. This is a resolution approving the complete and final report of the Public Works Commission on special assessments. This is here from Alderman Wetzel in Public Works.
Motion.
Thank you. Motion by Wetzel,
Second.
second by Bartz. Comments or questions on this one?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Next is Exhibit 9253. This is a resolution to approve change order number 1 for the 2021 curb and gutter and sidewalk replacement project with Reinhardt Construction. This is here from Alderman Wetzel in Public Works.
Motion.
Motion by Wetzel, second by Romline. Questions? Elissa?
Aye.
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 All right, and then our last one is 9254. This is a resolution to approve change order number 1 for the 2021 seal coating project with Scott Construction. And again, Alderman Wetzel in Public Works. Motion by Romline, second by Licht. Any comments or questions on this one? All right, Elissa. Oh, did I miss someone?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
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 All right, our next item is comments and suggestions from citizens present. Seeing none, I would look for a motion to
Move to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Motion by Romline, second by Wagner.
Never heard you speak so fast.
I mean, there's a Bucks game that started 10 minutes ago. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Bucks and six.